Hey, just a quick warning before we get into this. This video does contain spoilers for the most recent episode of RWBY, so if you haven't seen that, then probably save it for later. Thanks. Hello, my name is Joe, and welcome to my channel. So, after two Relic videos that were very wrong, an update video that I didn't actually update the theory in, and my most recent theory where I just barely mentioned it at the end, I have finally gotten around to revamping my Relic theory. And so, because of all those delays, I decided, let's just not even dilly-dally, let's just get into it, guys. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to explain the idea I presented at the end of my last theory video, and just generally my thought process behind it. Now, I'm not going to go over my entire theory from last time. I'll leave a card if you want to check it out. But the most important part of that video, in relation to this one at least, is that I believe the tree where RWBY, Jean, and Neo have found themselves in the post-credits scene of Volume 8 is based on Yggdrasil, the world tree from Norse mythology. And I also believe that at the very base of it, they will find a body of water very similar to the well at the base of Yggdrasil, and there will be either the Crown of Choice or the Sword of Destruction. Now, let's take this a step at a time, and first I'll explain my thought process on the more obvious choice, that being the Relic of Choice. So, as I said, this is kind of the obvious choice. I mean, it would make sense. Osmond said that he put an extra level of care in hiding this relic, and from what little we've seen of this place, it seems to fit the bill for that. Plus, it would make sense with the Crown's powers and the trend they have going with Ozpin's group. That trend being that their stories kind of go in reverse from what you'd expect given their fairy tale inspirations. The lion lost his courage instead of finding it, the Tin Man lost his heart, and the wizard is actually a wizard and actually has real magic. And while Oz is inspired by the Wizard of Oz, he's also partially inspired by another figure, Odin. So, going with the idea of people taking their fairy tale inspirations in reverse, hiding the crown here would make sense. Whereas Odin went to the well at the base of Yggdrasil to gain his wisdom, Oz went to the base of the tree to hide his. The wisdom, in this case, being a crown that shows you a choice you'll have to make in the future. So, yeah. All of that would make a lot of sense, and if that's the case, I imagine the Spirit of the Crown will probably be a parallel to Mimir, the figure most associated with the well in Norse mythology, save for Odin himself. However, I think there's also an argument that could be made for the Sword of Destruction being there. So, this goes back farther than my original Relic video, and into my inspiration for that video. That, of course, being Phoenix Knight's theory on the Relics. His suggestion was that the spirit within the Relic of Destruction would be the Lady of the Lake. Now that Merlin is off the table, I think the Lady of the Lake is actually a really good option for this. And what is the Lady of the Lake associated with? A lake, like the one I'm suggesting is under the tree and like in her name. Yeah. Now, that's pretty flimsy evidence, I'll admit. But there's a bit more too, and it could help it add up. So, one trend we've seen in the Vault so far is that they usually have a motif of the season directly after the maiden they are associated with. Spring maiden had a summer-like desert, winter maiden had a spring-like field, etc. If we're wrong in the theory I presented on what this world could be, and it's just another part of the Vault world where the relics are kept, it definitely looks a lot more fall-inspired than winter-inspired, meaning it would be associated with the Summer Maiden, and thus Vacuo and the Relic of Destruction. And there's another thing linking this idea to Vacuo as well. Minor spoilers for Before the Dawn, by the way. I haven't actually read either of the RWBY books yet, but while I was looking at the wiki page for the city of Vacuo, I noticed a certain landmark is there called the Weeping Wall. What struck me about it was its dimensions. 10 feet long, 3 feet thick, and 40 feet tall. Is it just me, Or does that sound kinda similar to the dimensions of the vault door? And as I read further, it said that it was made of a porous stone that drew water from the ground. Now, what if it didn't actually draw water from the ground, but from a lake in a pocket dimension connected to it? That's right. I think the Weeping Wall is actually the door to the vault in Vacuo. I'm sure others have brought this idea up as well, but I think it'd make a lot of sense, especially if the spirit being the Lady of the Lake is true. And the final point for this theory regards my belief that the Sword of Destruction will be based on Excalibur and that Jean will use it. It is said that Excalibur was forged on the island of Avalon before being given to Arthur by the Lady of the Lake. As I mentioned in my last video, Avalon could be one of the many inspirations this island could be taking. Avalon was also where King Arthur was taken to heal after his final battle, said to someday return. If Jean is taking a King Arthur-like role, this Avalon could be where he's gone to heal his psyche after what happened in the events of the finale before returning to Remnant. Also, this probably isn't super relevant since there's no basis in actual Arthurian myth from this, but I found it really neat. I noticed some parallels between Jean and the version of King Arthur from Fate's Stay Night. In that version, Arthur, or rather Arturia, originally used the sword Caliburn, the sword and the stone in this version, before switching to the more powerful Excalibur, given by the Lady of the Lake, despite having a stronger emotional connection to Caliburn. The reason she switched was because Caliburn was shattered in a duel where Arturia broke the rules of chivalry. Switching to a more powerful sword after having your original destroyed once you broke your own code and morals. Sound familiar to anyone? This universe's Arturia even dressed as a man, meaning Jean being based on her as well would fit perfectly with Juniper's theme. Now, I don't necessarily think that's actually the case, but you never know. They do have someone based on Nyan Cat, after all, and Cinder does use Gilgamesh's strategy of just spamming swords pretty often. Now, back on topic. If I'm right about the Sword of Destruction being there, what I believe will happen is that it will need to be used to destroy the gate between the vaults and Vacuo, allowing our heroes to escape. However, I think that with either of these scenarios, a sacrifice will have to be made. Just as Odin needed to sacrifice his eye to gain the wisdom from Mimir's well, so too will our heroes need to make a sacrifice to gain the relic from this new realm. If it is the crown of choice, this will likely be the only instance of required sacrifice, solely so they can remove it from this world. If it is the Sword of Destruction, though, I fear it may be a running issue, needing to make a sacrifice each time you use its great power. I could see either RWBY making this sacrifice, likely one of her eyes, as has been mildly foreshadowed, or Jean choosing to take the sacrifice on himself, just as he's been forced to watch others do so many times. Anyway, I had some other things I wanted to talk about here, like my theories for the other relic if either of these are true, but this is getting a bit long, I think, so I'll save that for another time. But hey, those are just my thoughts. What do you think? Agree? Disagree? Think I'm probably going to have to make another relic video when it's revealed I'm wrong again? Let me know in the comments below. And, subscribe. I'm trying to do a video every week or so you might find something you like. Till next time, safe journeys, my friends.